Oh, what have they found under the Giza Plateau? We're going to talk about it and remote view it. Let's get into it. The recent discovery of this massive structure beneath the Pyramid of Khafre and actually under the Giza Plateau is definitely going to rewrite history as we know it. This is exciting times, and I'm going to walk you through what has recently been found, what some of the debunkers are saying. We're going to debunk the debunkers, and then we're going to remote view what is this structure and how does it play in the larger part of what is going on with humanity. So let's get started. The enigma begins in 1925 when a mysterious text known as Thoth's Emerald Tablets surfaced. Said to be discovered by Maurice Durrell, these tablets claim to hold the wisdom of Thoth, the Egyptian god of knowledge, and often linked to the creation of the pyramids themselves. The tablets speak of advanced technologies, hidden chambers, and lost civilizations with powers we can barely comprehend. But Thoth isn't the only voice whispering about Giza's hidden depths. Enter Edgar Cayce, the famed sleeping prophet of the early 20th century. In the 1930s, Cayce predicted a secret chamber beneath the paw of the Sphinx, a hall of records holding the lost history of Atlantis and ancient Egypt. He said it would be rediscovered when humanity was ready. Is this chamber part of that underground network we're now exploring today? Fast forward to today, and the plot thickens. Meet Christopher Dunn, a precision engineer with decades of aerospace manufacturing. Dunn appeared on the Joe Rogan Experience in April 2024, dropping a theory that's turning heads. He argues the Great Pyramid isn't a tomb, but a power plant, using granite chambers and mysterious shafts. Dunn says it harnessed energy, and maybe through hydrogen or Earth's vibrations. Joe Rogan called it mind-blowing, and Dunn's evidence is tough to dismiss. Could these be the underground structures that Cayce was talking about, and part of what is newly discovered under the Giza Plateau? To help us stitch this all together is avid researcher Billy Carson, who wrote the book Compendium to the Emerald Tablets, a beginner's guide. Let's take a listen.
So the team deployed synthetic aperture radar, or SAR technology, using X-band microwaves at 10 gigahertz to detect subtle surface vibration caused by deep underground voids. And this non-invasive technique allowed the research to interfere or infer the presence of hidden structures without physical excavation that are 6,500 feet across, and above them there appear to be bedrock and then some of these other chambers, okay, that are right above. You have these circles and numbers pointing to these chambers in these other areas, right? Here's another view. Now, I want you to ask yourself a solid question. These boxes that are underneath these megalithic 2,000 foot long cylindrical 6,500 foot wide structures, these megalithic boxes down there which perform some type of amazing function, are so large, and I have to read the exact numbers for you. They're so large that 64,000 people can fit inside of them.
So basically what you're talking about are these structures right here below the cylinders, and remember the pyramid is up here, are large enough to be a stadium in of itself. Let's take a look at what Christopher Dunn has to say.
Described the Great Pyramid doubled oscillator in that it was connected to the Earth. Its proportions were an integer to to the Earth, and it was tuned harmonically to the vibration. It reacted to the Earth's pulse or the Earth's hum vibrations, and through that they were able to stimulate electron flow in the central granite chamber, and produce microwave energy.
So this is the part of the video that we go, yeah, but let's debunk the debunkers. Let me walk you through it. Here we go. Debunk 1. SAR can't see that deep. Critics are saying the tech just doesn't have the juice to spot stuff 2 kilometers down. They argue that SAR, even with the fancy Doppler tomography tricks, usually maxes out at penetrating a few centimeters or maybe a couple of meters through solid rock or sand. With Giza sitting on an aquifer starting about 15 meters below the surface, the water could scatter the radar signals, making it impossible to map anything that deep. Experts like Zahi Hawass have called it, quote, fake news, end quote, insisting the text limits kill the claim. Debunking Debunker 1. SAR's new twist could break the depth barrier. Sure, traditional SAR might fizzle out shallow, but this team's using micro-movement analysis, like seismic vibes from Cairo or the Nile, to turn the pyramid into kind of an echo chamber. Filippo Biondi's crew claims their Doppler tomography tweaks the map way deeper than old-school radar by picking up tiny vibrations through the rock. Their 2022 paper showed it worked inside the Great Pyramid, so why not under it? The tech's evolved, and the doubters might just be stuck on yesterday's limits. Debunk number 2. No ground truth to back it up. Skeptics point out there's no physical proof. No digging, no photos, just radar images of 3D models from satellites. Egypt's tight rules on excavations mean no one's shoveled a speck of sand to confirm these so-called chambers, wells, and cubes. Without boots on the ground or even ground-penetrating radar to double-check, they say it's all speculation dressed up as science. The lack of peer-reviewed follow-up since the 2022 paper adds fuel to their fire. Debunking the debunker number 2. Lack of digging doesn't mean it's not there. No excavation? Big deal. Egypt's government rarely greenlights digs that mess with the official story. The Scan Pyramids project found huge void in 2017 with 0 shovels, just muons, and it's still legit. These SAR scans are non-invasive, which is the whole point, peeking without permits. Plus, the team's begging for a chance to drill and verify. If they're shut down, that's on bureaucracy, not bad science. Debunk number 3. Clashes with known geology. Folks in the know argue that a massive 2-kilometer deep complex, complete with cylindrical shafts and giant cubes, doesn't jive with what we already understand about Giza's underground. Existing caves and chambers, like those near the Sphinx, weren't even picked up by these scans, which raises red flags. Plus, they say the plateau's limestone and water table would make building or preserving such a sprawling network a stretch, geologically speaking. Debunking the debunker number 3. Geology is full of surprises. Who says Giza's underground is fully mapped? The plateau's limestone could hide voids of ancient engineering we've missed. Look at the L-shaped anomaly from 2021, or the North Face corridor confirmed this year. The SAR data shows precise shapes, cylinders, spirals, cubes, not random blobs, hinting at something man-made. And if the aquifer's a signal killer, maybe the structures are sealed or designed to dodge water, like the lost tech we don't get yet. One more point. When debunkers look at these SAR scans and shrug, just blobs, they're missing the magic of how this tech actually works. See, synthetic aperture radar doesn't just snap blurry pics, it uses micro vibrations like echoes from Cairo's bustle or the Nile's flow to map what's down there. Scientists like Filippo Biondi analyze the data with Doppler tomography, which picks up sharp edges, repeating patterns, and precise angles, stuff like cylinders, spirals, and cubes. Random blobs don't have that kind of geometry. They'd show up as messy, uneven smudges. These scans reveal consistent shapes and depths, stuff nature doesn't just whip up on its own. So while the skeptics see fuzz, the experts see fingerprints of something built, not just buried. You have to think about it. If you were to come in and get an X-ray of your brain, would I be able to tell if there was something wrong? I have amateur eyes, so keep that in mind. But first, want to master energy healing? MDHmap.com simplifies it all. So what do I get for the remote view? Well, this is where I stick my neck out and open myself up for huge criticism. But I promise to give you what I get. And the chips will just fall where they may. But I always encourage you to also do your own remote view. Remember, it's not just limited to me or a few. You can do remote viewing too. You just have to know how to do it. And the one thing you have to remember is you cannot have an investment in the outcome. You have to place yourself in a place of neutrality. And even when it gets bizarre, and I promise you it will, and this is one of those times, I will give you what I get. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out in the future. So here we go. What I get is that structure is actually a man-made structure. Yep, by us humanoids. But when people say, oh, it's got to be alien technology, what I get is we are the aliens. So, now that's a big stretch. I know. And I sat with it for days, actually. And I've actually reviewed this another few times before, and I was just too scared to come out and say, this is what I get. Hello. So, I get the structure is between 35 and 45,000 years old. I feel like the aquifer either wasn't there at the time of its construction. Maybe the aquifer sort of shifts and changes. I feel like it sometimes go through, sometimes, or maybe part of it. The structure feels really large to me, really large, like way bigger. So we talk about Edgar Cayce finding the chamber underneath the paw. And of course, the skeptics were like, oh, that's baloney, until it was found. And so the same thing's beginning to happen again. That Giza Plateau has a lot of secrets that I feel that in some cases, like people like Zahi Hawass, I feel like he knows way more than what he's sharing. But also when I tune into him, it feels like I'm guarding. And I don't like to defend Zahi Hawass. I'm not a fan of Zahi because he's done some things that I feel personally are a little bit shady. Maybe not, but that's how I feel about him. But if it's your country and there's advanced technology, just like when we're reverse engineering the crashed UFOs, you don't want to give those secrets out to the other guy. You need to get yourself advanced so you can hold the bigger club if it comes to that. But now that we have this technology that is where the skeptics really haven't caught up with the level of technology yet. And I think in time they're going to be actually completely debunked scientifically, that more and more and more of this information about what is actually down underneath the Great Pyramid as well as the other pyramids on the Giza Plateau is definitely a structure 35 to 45,000 years old. I mean, it goes way back. It feels like it is humanoid, and it feels like we are the aliens. Now, I can't believe I said that out loud, but here it is. It does have a connection to the next video that I'm going to be making. So, where did we come from? And I feel that is going to be answered in my next remote view, and we're going to dive into that. Now, this structure, more and more information is going to come out. And it feels like it's for the powers that be are trying to contain this information and debunk those professional debunkers out there to say, don't look here, look there. I feel like it's going to be hurting rabbits. And this information is going to be like, that was peeled back, and now the flood of information at some point, probably, it feels pretty soon, that's all going to come out. Now, soon, I use that loosely. It could be months, it could be weeks, it could be days, it could be a couple of years, but it's all coming out, and it feels like they can't contain it as much as they want to. 35,000 years old, built by us. It feels to me that the civilization has come and gone. It feels like it's doing this. When this was put here, it feels like we were the aliens that came with our technology. And it feels like, and you can probably understand it now even more so, now we've got the advancement of AI, and it could be like Terminator, where we destroy ourselves, or it could be really good. Because remember, any technology we get can be used for good or for nefarious purposes. So it does feel like we sort of destroyed ourselves a few times. Then you kind of begin to understand why some people with very good intentions want to hide information from us until we become mature enough to handle the technology. It's like you don't want to hand a 2-year-old matches and say, go light a fire. Yeah, he's got the ability to do it, but would it be safe? Absolutely not. So the interesting point is, it is old. It's going to reveal that there have been more civilizations. We have come and gone. We've destroyed ourselves. We've rebuilt ourselves. We've destroyed ourselves. This does definitely predate Noah's flood, or the pre-diluvian flood, whatever they call it. It predates all that. It predates the flood. So, but again, it's this rise and fall several times. We are very arrogant in assuming that we are at the pinnacle of knowledge, that, we've evolved from, the Neanderthal, and here we are now. Aren't we just so cool? We can, send man to space and do all these wonderful things. But I don't think that we are at the pinnacle of where we've been in the past. That, like I said, it's a cycle. That's what it feels like. It's a cycle. Now, we're coming into a really good cycle if we are mature enough to handle it. If nefarious hoodle-doers take control, well, we're going to be right back to hurting ourselves again. Now, that's my 2 cents. You do your own research and do your own remote view. You are superhuman. And remember, the time this information comes in is when you are in a complete relaxed state. Getting yourself calm and not have an investment into the outcome of the information you get. It can make you look quite silly, like this video is making me look quite silly right now because of the stance I'm taking. So remember, you can do it too. Don't take my word for it. You are superhuman. You can remote view this. And let me know if you have any questions. Now, the next video, we're going to find out, because since this came up, where did we come from? if we're the aliens. Does that mean there's no aliens? My teaser alert for you is that the universe is abundant with intelligent life. We are not it. There is an abundance of intelligent life out there. And we were far beyond what we are right now. And we're going to talk about that in the next video. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe so you don't miss another woo video, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.